Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
With Plan B emergency contraception, we're in control of our future. It's backup birth control you take after unprotected sex that helps prevent pregnancy before it starts. It works by temporarily delaying ovulation, and it won't impact your future fertility. Plan B is available in all 50 U.S. states at all major retailers near you, with no ID, prescription, or age requirement needed. Together, we've got this. Follow Plan B on Insta at Plan B One Step to learn more. Use as directed.
I'm Jessica, and this is Daebak K-Rambles, where a couple of friends review Korean dramas. And I'm back for a new episode, a new K-drama, and today I'm joined by the incredible Sarah from K-Drama This / the co-host of Afternoona Asked podcast. How are you, Sarah?
Hey, I'm so excited to be here, Jess. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here. I think I asked you on this episode like January or February of this year. We're now towards the end of the summer, and I feel terrible that it's taken this long to get here, but I'm thrilled that we were both able to watch the show that we're going to talk about today, Do You Like Brahms, a musical K-drama, and we're going to do a nice deep dive. I forgot to preface this by saying that I was going to ask you this question, which was, how did you get into K-dramas and C-dramas and all the rest?
Oh, right. Well, so my background, for those of you who don't know me, I'm British Chinese. So my parents are from Hong Kong. So I've technically been watching Asian dramas, so Hong Kong dramas, like way before any Western dramas or any other dramas, really, because, so I'm sufficiently old, right? We only had one TV in the house when I was growing up, and like after dinner and the programming for the cartoon stops, then it, like, my parents were like, this is like our TV time now. And so you can sit and watch TV with us, but it's Hong Kong dramas, or you can go to bed. And I was like, I don't like going to bed. I'm going to stay around and watch these Hong Kong dramas. So technically I've been watching Hong Kong dramas, Hong Kong Chinese dramas, all my childhood. So since I was young, and I was very lucky. So I'm a child of the 80s, and back then TVB, which is like the main Hong Kong broadcasting channel, was like in its golden era. So people that you might know, so like Tony Leung, who played the Mandarin in Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie, like it was his heyday, like he was an oppa. So he was my original oppa, like my crush when I was growing up. And then Andy Lau, who he was in a movie with, is like a big star. And Zhao Yunfat, who you probably know from Crouching Tiger, and Michelle Yeoh, and Jackie Chan. Like this is their era. Like this is the era that I grew up. So I think we kind of all acknowledge that Hong Kong drama is it's not really where it's at anymore. But back in the day, and Leslie Chung, he gets like regularly kind of name dropped, and he was hugely popular in Korea. I didn't realize until I started watching K-drama, and I see references to him and his movies all the time now. So obviously he was really big in Korea. So grew up with that. And then K-dramas. So again, there was like this. So in Cantonese, I'll say Dai Chang Gum. I think it's a really old, very popular K-drama that charted like the history of a female physician. Like it's a historical drama, but it was huge in Asia. And like my parents were watching it, like just kind of binging it. And I remember dipping in and out of it, but I just wasn't really like getting it. And they were binging, so they were like doing like way into the night. And I was like, I gotta sleep. So I didn't. So my first proper K-drama was during lockdown. And so similar to many others, Crash Landing on You was my gateway drama, and it was like an experience, right? So so I'm a romance reader. I've always been like a lifelong romance reader. And I was just like, what is this drama? Like, they literally put everything in it, like they don't limit themselves. They don't limit themselves, right? Like, they're gonna just chuck everything at this drama. And like, I got to the end and I was like, my God, what is this? I've got like the worst hangover. I was playing the soundtrack like over and over, and I was like, I think the only way I can cure myself from this hangover is just to rewatch the whole thing, right? Because I've just got to see them again and do more crying and like, yeah. And then I feel like I can lay this drama to rest. And then that's it. Down the rabbit hole I went. And like, I don't think I've watched barely any Western dramas since Crash Landing on You. And that's basically now my mini journey.
Oh my God. I love to hear people's origin stories and how you grew up in the heyday of Hong Kong cinema and television, and how that's really just segued into talking about K-dramas, because the pandemic made us all rethink life and changed our watch habits tremendously. And I'm so thankful for Crash Landing on You, which we have covered on the podcast. I had my OG co-host Rico watch it. And I was like, you don't understand. This is like the gateway drama for so many people. I was like trying to like make him understand the gravity of like what he's just watched. And he was like, yeah. Like, he just did it. It wasn't necessarily the gateway drama for him. So, and then I have been really sucky at choosing dramas for him to watch, because every time we come on here or he does an episode with me for Daebak, he's like, it was fine. He's not like riveted by anything. He's just takes it all in stride, and he's like, this was good, this was bad, and pretty even keeled. And I haven't hit like a sweet spot where he's like, that was an amazing show. The only one that he's pretty much said that about is Signal.
Oh, I need to watch that. I still need to watch that because I'm such a Lee Joo-hun fan. So,
oh my God, me too.
Yeah, I have that out there. He's doing like a fan meet. I'm about to fly to Asia for a holiday, for a family holiday, and I've been like just scouring the net to see if anyone is doing a flipping fan meet while I'm out there. But unfortunately, everyone is going either just before or just after I'm there. And I'm like, or they're like in a different city altogether. So I think he's just been to Manila, or like So In-guk is nearly in Manila, or like, there's just like, but he was in Singapore earlier, which is where I'm going to. And I was like, you couldn't do your fan meet in August when I'm gonna be there. Like, I so wanted, like, I'm just so curious, right? So like, what happens on a fan meet, right?
Same. I was about to say,
like if you're not,
fan meets are like an enigma.
Exactly, right. If you're not an idol singer and you're not doing like dance performances, like what are you? And then do they speak in Korean, and then people like, does somebody live translate, or like, how do you, like, what do they do on fan meets?
I agree. I have so many questions that can be answered by just going to a fan meet.
so that. I know.
I know. Well, thanks again for chit-chatting really quick before we get into this episode on Do You Like Brahms. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. If this is your first time listening, wow, thank you so much for listening. Please go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so many more. And please, if you like us, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And come check us out on social media to stay up to date on our latest episodes and reviews. Content, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you call that, and Facebook at Daebak Pod. And if you're a fan, the best way to be a fan is to become a patron. It is such a great way for you to get involved and show your support and get a bunch of extra content for as little as $2 a month, guys. It's amazing. You can check out the page on patreon.com/alwayscriticpod. And we do always shout out our patrons. So thank you to Curtis, Bale, Cindy, CD, Alana, Grace, Lorna, Lee, Sammy, Caitlin, and Kiana and Michelle. Kiana and Michelle are new patrons. Hello. Thank you, ladies. And thank you, all of my patrons. I'm really glad that we have this little community and that we're all interacting. And I'm going crazy about C-dramas like Hidden Love on the Patreon feed. So please Join us over there. All right, Sarah, we're going to start talking about Do You Like Brahms? As always, non-spoiler and then spoiler section. And we can get into it right now. I'll go ahead and start us off with the MDL synopsis, which reads, in defiance of her family's opposition, Song-ah gets accepted to the music school of the same university where she originally majored in business. As she's 7 years older than her classmates, she finds her new academic life daunting and struggles to find strength. One day, she hears Joon-young playing Traumere, which I think that's how you say it. It's in German, and I looked up the pronunciation, and I think I just butchered it anyways. But
it's Traumere.
Traumere for those who don't speak German like me. Anyway, this song comforts her. Joon-young is a talented pianist who started playing the piano when he was 6. He's been friends with Jung Kyung, the granddaughter of Kyungwoo Group's CEO, for a long time, and is in love with her. When he decides to keep his distance from Jung Kyung, he meets Song-ah. So this show is a pandemic show. It aired from August to October 2020. It is 16 episodes long, and it's directed by Eun-Bin. He's also directed In the Interest of Love, which just came out a few months ago. It's a 2022-2023 show, and that's pretty much it. This director hasn't done any other directing work. It is written by Ryu Bo-ri, and this screenwriter only has 2 writing credits. It's Do You Like Brahms and Trolley from 2022. And then this stars Park Eun-Bin as Chae Song-ah, and she is a child actress. She's still acting, 30 plus TV credits. You might have seen her recently in The King's Affection and Extraordinary Attorney Woo, which we have covered on the podcast. And then her co-star is Min-Jae, who plays Park Joon-young. I will hereafter call him JYP for the remainder of the episode because that is way easier than saying Park Joon-young. Min-Jae has had a really good few years. I've said this before, but the pandemic has done really good things for his career, just like it's done really good things for other actors and actresses. He was in Dali and Kaki Prince in 2021, Boon, the Chosun Psychiatrist, 1 and 2, both seasons, and then most recently in Bloodhounds, which is a Netflix original from just this year, 2023. You might have seen him in other things. Like, I always think of him as the king, the young version of the king in Guardian, the Lonely and Great God. And then he's also in Tempted, which is a Cruel Intentions remake, basically. And you might have seen him in some other stuff. So that's not all he's been in. How do you feel about Park Eun-Bin and Kim Min-jae as actors and actresses in the industry, and where have you seen them before?
This is a great question because actually it's the reason I picked this drama up. So I saw King's Affection, loved Park Eun-Bin in this, in that drama, and I was really intrigued by this one. This was my first, barring the Goblin kind of mini cameo thing, this was my first Kim Min-jae kind of drama as well, and I was just blown away by how good they were. And also because Park Eun-Bin, I've seen her in, so I kind of watched part of Hot Stove Leaf, but it's on hold. She's so different, right? In that drama, she is really, have you seen it, Jess?
I haven't seen Hot Stove Leaf.
Haven't seen. No. So it's a sports drama, so that's kind of why I put it on hold, because I was a bit like, anyway, she plays like such a dynamic character, and she's really like just really energetic, and here she's just so completely different, right? Really quiet, really introverted. And in King's Affection, like I feel like she was, really quite alpha, right? Because she was basically like playing a king the most of the drama. And so this role was like a really different side to her. So I was really like, wow, is this like the same actress? Just so intrigued. And then Kim Min-jae, I kind of thought that he was this kind of actor, like this role just was it sat so well with him and so easily on his shoulders. And then I watched Dali and Cocky Prince earlier this year, and I was like, oh, like he's an amazing actor, right? Because he is just so completely different. Like, in that, have you seen Dali and Cocky Prince?
I haven't seen that one. Everyone's been telling me to watch it.
You need to watch it, Jess. So like, Darling and Cocky Prince. So he's the cocky prince in the titular, like he's the titular cocky prince, and he is just literally the complete opposite of the character he plays in Brahms. Like he's the closest we have, I think, to a himbo as a K-drama lead. Like he is, yeah, he is, you know, really like uncultured. He's brash. He's a cocky prince, right? So, and he's, you know, he's way less intelligent than the female lead, and he's very pretty, obviously, and just really shallow and materialistic. But he totally carries it off, and I was just like, oh my god, he's just like chalk and cheese. Like, what an amazing actor that he could do both so authentically and make you love him as well. Like, you know, you can. So he goes and gets. He's always dressed in like head to. I know that we're not supposed to be talking about Darling Cocky and Prince in this podcast, but anyway,
it's fine.
He's in like top to toe in like designer gear. And then we realize that he's actually also a bit tight. So he doesn't buy his designer gear from a designer shop. He's a chaebol that buys them from secondhand shops.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's funny. Good. But you still love him, and that he just has that connection with the audience, I think. And then like in Brahms, it's just completely different, right? He's so reserved. He's so well turned out. He's so, you know, stoic, but he again makes you fall for him. And I just think they're really, I just think it's incredibly hard. I mean, I would just say like the genius of this drama, I think, is that it's about two introverts.
Yes. Thank you.
They make you like you're drawn to them. And it's amazing. And I'm still kind of a little bit working out what the genius of how they did it, right? Because it was really good.
We're going to circle back to that because I think this must be a genre or like a subgenre all on its own, with two characters that are introverts and how they fall in love and how they navigate their relationship and any misunderstandings that happen in K-drama land, because they're not like the typical leads to me. No. And it's been a really long time since I've seen, other than Summer Strike, which is two introverts falling in love as well, and really sweet romance. But this two introverts, I feel like it's gone by the wayside largely, and it's so nice when you come across one of these stories where you're like, there's something really frustrating at times with them, but also very comforting to see these two sort of fall into each other and have to put themselves forward in different ways. And it's difficult to sell a romance where someone isn't naturally charismatic.
Yeah, and so quiet, not quiet in the volume way, but just quiet in people, you know. And obviously normally it's they'll pair an extrovert with an introvert, or grumpy with sunshine,
opposites,
or and opposites. And it was just so lovely to see. Actually, no, we're gonna just find two people that see, you know, their kind of person in this person, and you know, because they open up in a way that they don't with others, and it was really beautiful to watch.
Yeah. So quickly, we have our second couple / second female lead. So we have Kim Sung-chul, who plays Han Sung, who is the cellist / BFF. And he will be in Hellbound 2 later this year. He was the second male lead in Our Beloved Summer. He was the president that Vincenzo seduced in Vincenzo in 2021. I just saw him in Sweet Home because we just reviewed Sweet Home on the podcast. And so he was in that, not to spoil anything about his character in that show. He will definitely be back in Sweet Home too, presumably. And then he's been in Arthdal Chronicles, The Wind Blows, and Prison Playbook, as a matter of fact, which I really enjoyed, Prison Playbook. And that's another episode that you can scroll back in your podcast feed and listen to. He stars opposite Park Ji-hyun, who is the second female lead. She plays Jung Kyung, and she's most recently been in Reborn Rich, which I still haven't seen yet, and Love All Play, which we've also covered on the podcast. It's a sports show, sports K-drama. Yumi Cells, you might have seen her in Yumi Cells. If you saw her in Yumi Cells and you really hate her because she was really sort of annoying and mean and conniving a little bit in Yumi Cells. A bunch of stuff that she's been in. But how did you feel about these two, and where have you seen them before?
So, Kim Sung-chul, can I just now use your podcast to manifest like a nice romance for him? Do you not feel the same way? I'm just like I watched him. I loved him in Prison Playbook. I think that's my first drama with him in it, and then I watched this, and God, he's such a good actor. He's such a good actor. Like he really makes me feel his pain, like his pain at not being loved specifically. And then Our Beloved Summer, again, the same pain. He's just like constantly yearning. Like his face is just like, and then finally I got to Vincenzo, and it's like, I've got to say, it's a little bit homophobic, that kind of whole like section, but still, like, he just rocks up and he just absolutely delivers it, right? So even in Vincenzo, he's like yearning, and I'm just like, please, could someone please give him a drama where he ends up happy and not yearning? Like, could someone just love him back the way
I agree. I think he's way overdue for his own romance, for his own leading role.
Yes.
And he can act really well. I think everything that I've seen him in, I'm like, wow, he's really good. He's different in everything, and it might be just that he's choosing projects that are varied and characters that are different, even though they don't end up with the person at the end. But I agree. I think he's overdue to get his own show. Hopefully it'll happen soon for him, and let's manifest that together. We'll collectively yearn for that and request that of the industry. And then Park Ji-hyun, have you seen her before?
No, this is my first drama of hers, actually, and I think she has a very difficult character.
Oh my God, yes. More.
So I think she actually did quite well in a way, because I think probably of all four characters, hers was the more complex one to play. So yeah, and I went on my own little journey with her and her character. So by the end of it, I was like, do you know what? Hats off to you. You did actually you really did this character justice, and it was not an easy role.
It was not an easy role, and maybe because I came in with my own biases of not liking her from other shows. Not liking her acting. I mean, like, she's consistently playing these characters that they're testing you, okay? Yeah. And so when I saw her in the show, I was like, oh, shit, here she is again. I was like, dang it. And sure enough, her character is really difficult to like. She's actually quite unlikable. Yeah. Yeah. And she's prickly, and she's irritable, and she's jealous. And it's totally fine for characters to be flawed and, what have you. But in this show, I really was disliking her for the bulk of it. It was only until the last couple of episodes that I was like, okay, fine. Yeah. Fine. I will allow it. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I had the same journey. Yeah.
Well, I think I can guess what your feelings are, but what were your overall thoughts on Do You Like Brahms?
I was just so in awe of this drama. Like, it's really... Like, it just really surprised me. So when I started it, I kind of started it on a whim. Like I said, I saw Park Eun-Bin, and I was like, oh, like, they're classical musicians. I don't really know much about classical music. So I was like, I'm just going to start it. And I might end up like 2 episodes in and just not carrying it on, which is kind of like the thing that I do. But before I knew it, I was like 8 episodes in, and I was so invested. The writing was amazing. Their acting was amazing. I just loved it. I think it's so underrated. So that's the other thing, because people don't talk enough about this drama.
No, they don't.
They really don't. And I was, so that's partly also it, because you kind of, you hear stuff, and like someone says, oh, this is an amazing drama, you've got to go and see it, or like it's a really famous, like genre setting drama or whatever. But no one really talks about this drama. And so I just thought maybe it was just going to be something that like was a bit of a palate cleanser in between the couple of like big dramas that I was watching. But no, it stayed with me. And this is why it was so lovely that you invited me back, because it was to talk about this drama, rather, because it was so so lovely to relive it again, actually, and just kind of re-enjoy it and re-watch some clips and listen to the soundtrack again and just be reminded of what a great drama this is. And so it's good that you're doing this so that other people who may not have seen it pick it up and, well, might be intrigued by this podcast and think, I'm going to give this a go because it deserves it.
Yeah, I can't remember how this ended up on the docket for season 4, but I'm glad that it did. I'm really partial to musical dramas. We've covered Dream High on the show. I don't know if any other podcast has covered Dream High. Maybe it's just because it's a bit of a torture to watch, but we did the hard work. If you want to know thoughts about that one, then scroll back and listen to it. But I have a soft spot for music dramas, and I feel like I've watched a fair share, and this one is very good. I think that I was more annoyed that it was such a slow burn. And I don't mind slow burns. Like, we've covered Something in the Rain, which is pretty slow, and some other shows as well that would fall into that category of slow burn romances. This one's real slow. And I think it was more annoying that the pace at which people were speaking to each other was so slow. Right. And there were a lot of pregnant pauses, which are rife in K-drama land, where people just say something and then nobody responds back for a long minute. And then they continue the conversation. And so I had to put this one on 1.25 speed. And that seemed to be a really good sweet spot for how I wanted this paced. Literally that one change of making it 1.25 speed made all the difference. I actually thought on a couple instances as I was watching the last few episodes, because I didn't do this for the whole show. I just did it for like the last few episodes. Right. I thought that the setting had like somehow come undone and it was just playing on regular speed.
Right.
Because it was so believable. I was like, they must be talking really fucking slow for me to think that this is actually the regular speed and the thing messed up. Like the plugin messed up.
It's so funny because I didn't realize till I read what you'd written that the director of this had directed Interest of Love.
Interest of Love, yeah.
So did you watch that from earlier this year?
No,
Right. So if you find Brahms pregnant pause slow, you will really struggle with Interest of Love. I just thought it was I was like, do you know when you find out a director's directed two things and you're like,
yep, that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. But I think I think it's a real Marmite drama. I think people who were watching it with me kind of on socials at the time were just like, oh my God, I hate this. And then there were other people who were like, oh my God, this is brilliant. That
was pretty much my only complaint was this sort of like her taking their sweet time saying things. And I love the content of what they're saying. And I love the way that it's scripted. That's all great. I love that.
Yeah.
And I generally love a slow burn. Apparently, this show, in my mind, should have been on 1.25 speed. Like should have been the regular speed.
Yeah. I'm gonna defend it a little bit, right? Because for me, I felt like. So I don't classify myself as a full introvert, and I'm doing a podcast, so I can't be that introverted. But I think there's an element of like introverts that have to work out what they're saying in their head. Like, I feel like if you're an introvert that struggles to, and this is obviously not me or you, struggles to kind of put our thoughts into words and actually marvel at the way that some people just go, right, well, this is what I think, and bam, it's like, I'm going to lay it out here with this point, blah, blah, blah. And, and I have people in my life that say this to me, like, I just can't talk like the way you do. Like, I just don't, my brain doesn't work that fast, my mouth doesn't work that fast, and I can't, like, I have to work out what I'm saying in my head before I can say it out loud. And I feel like if you're that kind of person, this drama will speak to you because there's these two people and they're grappling with like big emotions, right? There's a lot of stuff happening. So I think it was, for me, very real that it took them so long to respond to each other and to, as you say, with pregnant pauses and things, because they're just people that are kind of still working things out and also not great at expressing themselves and also struggling to kind of put it into words. And I think that and that's partly why I loved it so much, because it was truly two introverts falling for each other. It wasn't like, I'm just going to kind of sketch introverted people, but I'm still going to make them drama people, and they're kind of like be, you know, like Dawson's Creek level of like, you know, like that I could speak about my feelings in a really like intelligent way, even though I'm still a teenager type thing. So it was really like believable for me, I think, and it added for me, it added to that kind of authenticity of like, these two are truly like, you know, these characters, these introverted characters.
You make a fine point, and I agree with you. And just the other day, I was on the phone with my mom, and I told her that I was really tired because I was interacting with more people. I just switched jobs recently, and I'm spending my days in the office now, and I've been working from home for the past few years. And I told her, at the end of the day, I'm so tired because I'm talking to people and interacting with people, and I have to be on all day long.
So
and that's
draining.
so different than how I was spending my time during the pandemic and working from home even more recently. And I told her I'm an introvert, and this is taking a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You're not an introvert." And she like fought me on it. And I was like, I swear to God, if I am in a social situation, it takes a lot of effort for me.
Yeah.
And when I leave, I'm drained.
Yeah.
And I love to curl up, and I'm such a homebody. I want to be home and, you know, that sort of thing. And maybe I'm way more of an extroverted introvert now than I was when I was in my younger years. Because in my younger years, I feel like I would have full-on conversations in my head. Right. And I was I feel like over the years, I come to understand that there's people that like to just listen.
Yes.
You know, even before even responding. Let alone the response that comes after. I just mean like people like to wait and listen, and they're not quick to insert their own thoughts or quick to cut people off or something like that. And that is something that a lot of people don't understand. Like, it doesn't compute that like I should just stop talking.
Yes.
You know? And absolutely, I agree with your take that it was very authentic to have these two people be introverts and true introverts, and not like they call them introverts, but they're not really introverts. But I think as an audience member, I was really pressed about the way that they were talking so glacial pace in some conversations. Yeah. And and then it's all important to me. I was like, this isn't even like a nothing conversation that these people are having. Every conversation to me was important. Every interaction meant something. I was like, I can't skip this. So then I was like, you know, I was like, we have to, let's go. Like, let's move a little far. So that's where the 1.25 came from. It is not a blight on the show. It might be just a blight on me. So I think you mentioned earlier how it was very, not slow, but they were restrained, basically. And I loved the themes of the show and how it studied music and dreams and the really inside baseball take on the classical music industry.
Yeah.
Characters and relationships. And there were another show that it reminded me of, which was Spring Waltz. I don't know if you've watched that show.
No, I haven't.
It's with Han Hyo-joo. I want to say it's 2007, 8.
Wow.
Around there. It was late 2000s. And she falls in love with a very talented concert pianist.
Right.
And even though that's a melodrama, I don't know if I would classify Do You Like Brahms as a melodrama. Maybe some episodes, but not the whole thing.
No.
And that show had the vibes, like the relationship seemed to have the same sort of vibes where, you know, you had like very thinking, feeling people who just loved each other and appreciated music, and there was trauma with the music, and all these things wrapped in a neat bow of a music K-drama. So I don't know if have you watched a lot of music K-dramas? Like,
not really, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah. Have there been? I definitely haven't watched Dream High, which you just mentioned.
well, yeah.
And maybe we'll give that a pass. No, I can't really think of any others that I have watched actually. But
There's quite a few,
yeah.
but I think they focus on bands a lot of the time, or
Right,
like the
yeah.
K-pop industry.
Yeah.
But the classical music, you got like Spring Waltz. We have Five Fingers, which is a like 30 episode K-drama that I didn't even finish watching. I dropped it because I was like, this is too long. But it stars Ji Chang-wook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this other guy, he was just in GD-san. What's that actor's name?
Sorry,
Anyway,
I didn't watch that either.
No, it's totally fine. Anyway, those two are in like a piano rivalry.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and there's this special piano in their house that they don't know how it makes such a beautiful sound. And there's a piano CEO company in the mix. Like it was like a lot of piano, which Five Fingers, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Beethoven Virus. Oh, go ahead.
No, you said Ji Chang-wook, and I just completely have blanked out because it's a drama I dropped. The Sound of Magic.
Sound of Magic. Oh,
so I have
go
seen.
into why you dropped it.
Yeah. I have seen another. So yeah, that's the only other music drama that I've seen. So yeah.
Okay, we got Beethoven Virus. We got Heartstrings, which this also reminded me of Heartstrings because in Heartstrings they're in music school.
Right.
And it's one of the members of CN Blue with, oh my God, the girl from Airs, Park Shin-hye, and she plays the kayakum, which is almost like it looks like a Korean version of a zither.
Yeah.
And so she's like in the traditional instrument, like section of the music of the music school, and then he is playing guitar, and so he's in like the modern instrument part of the school, and so there's like a rivalry between the traditional Korean instrument people and then the modern guitar and bass and all this stuff, and it's really cute. So I enjoyed Heartstrings back in the day. A lot more music dramas than that, but those ones sort of relate specifically to me to this drama. And then I also mentioned the comp Summer Strike already. I'm not sure. I have an idea in my head, but have you ever played, or do you play an instrument?
I used to play the piano. So yeah, not to very high level. I mean, this is what I found interesting, right? So, this is not a spoiler, obviously. So Park Eun-Bin's character from the start, we know that actually she has had to, kind of overcome her family's disapproval that she is playing the violin, right? And she's choosing to try and make a career out of playing the violin. And I found it quite interesting from an Asian background that so many of us are encouraged to take piano lessons, classical music instruments, as an extracurricular thing in order for us to have it on our CV so that we can then qualify and go to a university. Like that's a whole thing, whether you're an immigrant Chinese person or you're living in China, right? That is just a thing that your parents encourage you to do. And there's like generations and generations of people kind of playing instruments. But unless you're going to be a concert pianist, right? No Asian parent wants you to actually then try to make a career out of it, right? They're just like, no, you're going to play it competently to put it on your CV, but like, God forbid you go and try and make a career out of it, right? Because we want you to go and like, I don't know, be a lawyer or a doctor or like, an accountant or whatever. We don't want you to choose something as difficult. And like her parents say it in the drama, right? Like, like it doesn't pay and it's really kind of, it's not seen as a high profile job. And obviously she had a great degree before in business, and I just found it like an interesting commentary on like Asian society of how they view, how they push their children to do all this extracurricular music lessons, but then say, well, no, but no creative arts is not a career option. Like, we want you to be, you know. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting take, actually.
Yeah, I'm Hispanic. If you don't know, I'm Hispanic, and I I didn't grow up playing instruments, but I really wanted to learn how to play the piano. So I started taking piano lessons late in life. I started taking them when I was already in high school, 9th grade. And I think I only took it for like a year or two. And I went to Miss Hannah-Lisa's house, which she lived in a predominantly Jewish community. I think she was a Holocaust survivor, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Wow.
And she would just do piano lessons out of her little like condo, and she was so sweet. And I remember I went to my first lesson with her, or like consultation, I guess, because it wasn't a lesson yet. It was just like, you know, getting to know the teacher, and, you know, what's the timeline here, when are you available? And she looked at my hands and she goes, "You have very small hands." but I know a lot of great pianists who have small hands. And she was so sweet. She was like, "You can make it work." Like, she basically was like, "It's okay." And I knew nothing. I didn't know how to read music or anything. So I was starting from ground zero. And it was like pulling teeth. It was very difficult. And then I had to find the time to practice. It was this whole thing. Like, it was this whole thing to fit into my life. I quit taking lessons with Miss Hannah-Lisa because I was failing algebra. My parents were like, it's either you practice or you pass your algebra class. It turns out that I'm actually really good at, or was really good at math, because I went into some college courses and was taking like higher math. And I'm really proud of this fact. I had a math professor come and say, "You should get a math minor. All you need is like these 3 classes." And she mentioned the names of the class, and I was like, that sounds terrifying. I'm not taking those classes and getting a math minor. Come on. So get real. So it never happened. I have lost all of my mathematics skills since. So it was just the teacher, the algebra teacher that I had during that tumultuous time that I was failing that class. I blame that teacher because I was good at math. Anyway, that's a tangent. But I stopped taking Miss Hannah-Lisa's classes, and I had some really nice memories with her because she used to use a metronome on the piano to help me keep time. But then when she didn't use the metronome, she would count. And here's what I thought she was about to keel over and die on me during the lessons, because here's what she would do. I can't believe I'm gonna imitate her. Okay, here we go. She would go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I don't know if she just couldn't take a breath in between the counting. It would scare me half to death every time. She would inhale when she was saying the number, and it was really frightening as a child. As a high school person, I would like look at her like, oh my God. Anyway, that's Miss Hannah-Lisa. And then when I was later in high school, we had to choose our electives. I chose 3 random electives. None of the electives that I chose were what was given to me. I got guitar 1 with Mr. Eves in high school. This was a really highly coveted class position. Right. I don't know how. It was a God thing because I landed in that class and I loved it. I remember the first day, like 20 kids coming in at different points of the one class that I have, trying to get him to sign like the transfer so that they could enter his class. And he's like, "I'm maxed out. I can't." He was such a good teacher, and I loved playing guitar. I played guitar for many, many years after that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I asked my mom today why she never signed me up or my sister up for a classical music instrument like violin, piano, something, why she never signed us up for ballet or gymnastics or something, when those are things that kids sign up for when they're really little, like 5, 6, 7, 8. And she goes, well, I took ballet when I was really little. My mom signed me up. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, but she forced me to do it. And I didn't have any interest in doing ballet. So I figured if you didn't have any interest in it, I'm not going to force you to do it. Like, just matter of factly. And I was like, okay. So I could have been a concert pianist and Miss Annalisa could have been famous for being my teacher. I'm just kidding. But that is my experience with playing instruments. And I do not play any instruments anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this show felt very like her little journey going through playing violin. I was like, I felt it deep in my bones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm super impressed because they both learnt their instruments, right? So I think Eun-Bin could play violin and then she kind of repicked it back up.
Yeah.
And then Min-Jae like actually learnt to play the piano. Like, I'm just so impressed.
He had like a month.
Yeah.
He said he learned in a month.
How do you learn in a month?
How?
You can't learn in a month. But anyway, like, still, I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's really impressive that they played their own instruments in the show and that they looked pretty good, really believable.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, I mean, if I was someone on the production and I had a couple of actors doing their best, had minimal time to prepare to look like a professional violinist or a professional concert pianist, I would dub them with a real person who can look at the footage and actually play something that might be a little closer to the caliber that they need.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I'm not taking away from the fact that they actually learned how to play piano and violin for this show. Yeah. I think that this drama is old school, and it's really hard to explain how it's old school other than, like, I already pointed to Spring Waltz, which is an older K-drama, but I think Love Rain also feels this way, where you have two really timid and sensitive leading couple, and they're very introspective and feeling, and I feel like maybe Do You Like Brahms has melodrama roots, because K-dramas of yesteryear in the melodrama genre are like this. They feel like this couple where it's like everything is a big deal and all of these conversations are important, and you don't have all of this like fluff, so to speak, like empty episodes.
Yeah.
Because everything is interconnected. But anyway, that's the last thing I'll say about that. Was there anything that really surprised you about the way that they portrayed music and the way that they portrayed the music school and chamber orchestra and stuff?
No, I found it, well, like I said, I don't know much about the classical music world, so I found it like really interesting. But I actually really enjoyed that they made it so relatable, because it's still like a microcosm of like Korean society within the music world, right? So you know, Min-Jae is like the superstar of the world, but he's very lonely at the top, you know, like in that kind of like, I've just rap king the land, right? So we're chaebol drama, and you know, like all like, you know, he's going through his emotions, but he's alone because he's at the top of the tree. And then she is like, you know, right at the bottom of the tree, right? So she is not only, you know, still a student violinist, but she's also not a very talented one and doesn't, you know, isn't getting the spots that she deserves and things. And then you've got some really awful professors, people that are really super selfish. So it felt really like they'd put in like all our very familiar K-drama tropes, but within this classical music world. Which I really enjoyed. And then I think there's another observation I had, but I think it might be a bit spoilery, so we could leave that till the end. But I like that they kind of flipped the trope a little bit with the classical music. So yeah, we can discuss that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're at that point. I think two things. OST, because you mentioned that you were listening to it.
Yeah, I love the OST.
You loved it. Okay.
You didn't like it?
No, it was fine. I think I only comment on OSTs when I get an earworm and I like add it to all my playlists and I find it's really repeatable.
Yeah.
But otherwise I'm like, oh, that was pleasant. That was nice. Nothing
stood out
terrible about it. It was wonderful in the moment, absolutely. But if you played it to me in a mix with other K-drama songs, would I be able to be like, that's Do You Like Brahms?
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. No, there's one gummy track that I really liked that I thought was really good. So, I mean, it's like still been on. So this drama, I watched it a while ago now, and the OST tracks are still on my kind of like I have a rolling playlist, and then I get sick of them, and then I have to shove them off because I can't hear them again. Whereas the Brahms ones are still on there. Like I'm still listening to them.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's long. It's a sign of longevity.
It's good. Yeah, it is a good sign. All right. The second thing is, what would you rate the show out of 5 soju bottles? 5 being amazing, 0 being terrible.
So I kind of like at the time I gave this a 9. Actually, so I score out of 10. So I guess the equivalent would be 4. But like when I was revisiting a lot of this, I mean, maybe I've mellowed in my like K-drama critique, but I was thinking I actually didn't, there wasn't a lot that I disliked about it. So, but yeah, so probably 4, but
okay,
yeah, but not because there's like major stuff that I thought this was not so great or they didn't handle this well, so I'm knocking a point off. Just yeah. So less that there's something wrong with it, just that it's like it's not knocking it out the park. Amazing, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'll rate it either 3.5 or 4. I'm leaning towards 4. There's some things in the later episodes that we'll talk about in the spoiler section why that really bothered me, but other than that, I think it's really pleasant. It's a really easy watch for the most part, and you should definitely give it a try if you haven't already. I think Do You Like Brahms is probably one of the more underrated shows for sure.
Yeah. And I think, so I said at the top, I'm a romance fan and the romance delivers for me on this. Like my problems with this drama are not the romance per se for me. And I think there were so many moments that just made me really feel things. And I think the actors did just such a good job of portraying their emotions and their like eyes was just so often brimming with emotions, so they could have whole scenes, as she said, full of pregnant pauses that really made me feel stuff because they were doing so much of their acting through emoting and through their body language and through the way their eyes moved or the way they looked and then looked down, and I just thought it was really great.
I agree. All right, so with that being said, we're going to get into the spoiler section. So if you don't care about spoilers, we're going to keep going and you're going to come with us on this journey. We'll be back right after this.
Excuse me, 뭐라고?
괜찮아.
You know, I have no 친구. Oh, sorry.
Swear, discrossing shit.
What?
All right, we're on the other side of spoilers, and I think we want to start where you left off. You said you had something that you wanted to say that was a little spoilery, and so we're going to start there.
Right. I didn't mean to cliffhanger it, but like it's good. So what I really appreciated, because we were talking about classical music and we talked about how before, like a lot of people have this on their CV and they try, but I think so many Asian dramas, and I think specifically Korean ones, have this thing of showing people if you just work really hard, you study really hard, you put your hours in, you will become successful. And this drama specifically says, no, actually, that might not work for you. You could play the violin and be so diligent and be practicing all the time and have calluses on all of your fingers. But it just might not be there for you, because that elusive thing called talent, or the thing that elevates a normal pianist or a normal violinist to be some concert grade one, is like a specific magical thing that you can't try 10,000 hours and achieve. And I really loved that they made that part of this drama. Like I loved that her arc was that she put the violin away. Like this thing that was like she had dropped everything, stopped her business career, restarted school, endured like her classmates kind of basically looking down on her and her being an outcast and because she was older than them and all the rest of it. And it was still not good enough.
It's not enough. Yeah.
And that's just so antithetical to K-dramas. So I really loved that. I loved that that was her arc. And that
I think so too. I think it's almost on par with being as compelling as their romance.
Yeah.
Is her journey and her heartbreak with the deep love that she has for playing the violin and the violin in general. And that's something that the show also juxtaposes against other students and against JYP. her lover is that other students who have that quality, that talent, that drive, hate their instrument. And JYP, multiple occasions, was like, I don't enjoy playing the piano.
Yeah.
And the people that want it the most don't have what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a brutal reality. And I remember like going through the whole piano and starting late, and Miss Hannah-Lisa like being like, oh, it's late, you know, because she had kids that were coming in there like really little and playing very well. I have this stupid story that I have to tell. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell it. So the piano that I had at home that I would practice on was like an electric piano, but it had a bunch of settings and you could play some songs. Like the piano would like light up.
Right.
And it would tell you like what to press, but the piano itself would play the song on its speakers, right? Yeah. Whatever piano song. And my sister had a friend over. My sister's 3.5 years younger than I am. And so her friend presumably was also young, right? Maybe 3-4 years younger than I am. She had a friend come over and all of a sudden I hear the piano going. Like they had pressed some buttons and the piano was playing some piano song. And I walk over and I was like, turn off the piano. I walk over. Her little friend is playing the piano and it was so good. I thought the piano was playing it itself.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a track that came with the keyboard. And I was shocked. The way her little fingers were flying over the keys, I was stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned. And I had not for anything, but the little friend was Asian. But I was like, I'm never going to get to that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I liked the piano a lot. I did not love it the way that this character loves the violin.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's also because the drama starts with showing us that she made this momentous decision.
Stop it.
You know, to go and take it. So you assume by the end of the drama she's going to somehow She's gonna Rocky herself, you know, out of it and be all like well trained and like, you know, and
it was scary. It was scary how real it was. It was also scary how she was like a second-class citizen in the school.
So that,
because of her lack of talent.
Yeah.
And I thought the drama really started on a carefully, like, how do I put this? It was humiliation. The drama started with humiliation because it had that whole intro sequence of her getting chewed out and humiliated by the conductor who had just dismissed her and the other seat next to her because he thought the violin section was too loud. And he was like, okay, you're not playing today. She had already, she was like, but I practiced so hard.
Yeah.
And she started to like state her case and the conductor was not having it. He was extremely rude. And even when she said, he's like, what is your name? And she starts saying her name, Taesonga, and that means sorry in Korean if you don't know how to spell it because it's not spelled the same way as sorry, evidently. And I was like, oh my God. So it was like this little like who's on first gag that was happening because he's like, I know you're sorry. Stop saying you're sorry. What is your name? I'm asking your name. It was like, oh my God. It was painful.
Yeah.
So painful. So then from there, they start to craft this romance, and you're taken for a ride because her journey as a violinist as well is extremely important to the show, and it's a huge source of heartbreak for you as the audience member, and certainly for the characters.
Yeah, and I thought it was brave. I thought it was brave that the drama ended with her putting her violin away and just going and saying goodbye to it. She literally there's a little goodbye ceremony to her violin. And I was like, oh.
I almost cried when because this is jumping to the end, but when she sells her violin, I have a story like that. I had a guitar that was collecting dust for years and years. It made the trip up with me after I moved out of my parents' house, and it was just in my closet, and I never played it. I never practiced on it. I was done with it by that point.
Yeah.
And I went to sell it, and I listed it, and it was a public place. I was meeting up with these people, and I had these thoughts. I was like, this guitar meant a lot to me, and I remember buying it with my dad and playing it in the store, and all of the times that I practiced on it and played on it, and I was getting really emotional. But then I was like, it's not it's not living. It doesn't have a good home. I'm not playing it. I had all of these thoughts as I was selling the guitar, and the family that came to buy the guitar, they looked pretty worse for wear, to put it mildly. And the dad picked it up and started playing the guitar, and he played so well. He just played a little lick, and I was like, this guy's gonna use it. This family's gonna enjoy the instrument. And I was like, here, I would have given it at that point. I would have just given it to them for free, because I was like, if it goes to a good home, then great.
It gets played with. Yeah. It's like Toy Story 3.
It is. It's like Toy Story 3. But yeah, when she starts crying,
yeah,
saying goodbye to the instrument and that she's gonna sell it, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I feel this. I feel
yeah.
it.
She's so good at crying as well. She really kind of makes you feel. Yeah, she's so good.
It's terrible. They say the name of the show in the show because she asked him at the airport in episode 1, do you like Brahms? I love when they do that in shows and in movies, okay? It's like a low-hanging fruit, but I love it. And he says no. He says, no, I don't like Brahms, because of this whole supposed love triangle that he had with Clair and Schumann, two other composers of the time, and that mirrored JYP's own tumultuous relationship with his best friend's girl.
And the best friend.
So he also had a third wheeling situation.
Yeah.
And I like that the two, they learn to get through their complexes, and him not liking Brahms, by the end he's like, I played your 3 composers that you had talked to me about in episode 1, and developed this music program that got you into this internship. That was really powerful to me, that he ends up playing Brahms, and he chooses these songs that mean a lot, and she understands because she's part of that world. So it was really nice. I'm going to switch gears for a second before we get too sappy. I really hated her best friend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I was being really catty about it, but no. I really disliked her.
I found her a bit. First of all, I just didn't feel like they were friends. They didn't feel like an authentic friendship. I felt therefore she was a bit, because of also so just let me lay out. I am not a big fan of love triangles. So to have basically two of them in one drama was just I'm a bit over them. But I mean, I think they did the kind of the Brahms and Clara Schumann thing, mirroring one was okay. I could do that, but the second one felt forced, and then because obviously she is part of the best friend's part of this, I felt like she was just she just felt a bit fake, and it just didn't feel very authentic. And then they jammed in this second love triangle. I didn't like it at all. It was a little bit icky. The best friend,
I think in episode 3, it's her birthday, right? It's Chae Sung-hwa's birthday. And the friend comes by and says, I'm not going to be able to make it to your party later. Here's your gift. And the best friend only comes to drop off the gift and cry and bawl over the guy who now wants nothing to do with her ex, which is the crush that Chae Sung-hwa has on him.
Yeah.
And it makes Chae Sung-hwa feel really small and foolish. And why the hell would the friend do that on her birthday?
Yeah.
It was like, this isn't about you. It's my birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was very annoying.
No, very annoying. And then later on, when she basically has a go at her for having feelings for him, and it's just kind of like, she doesn't get to choose, and she didn't act on them because, out of respect for you, and you just chew her out for it. It's just kind of like, I was a bit like, I just wanted to chuck things at her.
And then she said, it's not because you liked him. It's because you lied to me. That's what she was like. Oh, I'm upset at you because you lied to me for all these years. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, who would say, hey, I have a pretty strong crush on your boyfriend, now your ex, and hang the girl code or the bro code. Like, this was so totally uncalled for. And she had no leg to stand on. It felt like the BFF thought she was the main character.
That's a good take. Yeah. I kind of felt like they wrote her in that like she just kept thinking they were meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Like her and this guy were meant to be, and he was just so not into her. It wasn't even a love triangle in some ways because he was really not into her.
I agree completely. And then they tried to bring her back later. I thought this was good if only the relationship was believable them being friends, because they bring her back later when she's really, Chae Sung-hwa's really down. And the violin repair shop guy, who's that part of the other bit of that triangle, calls the BFF. And he's like, basically, we don't see that conversation, but I'm glad that he did that.
Yeah. But that's part of the parts of the show I'm like, I could actually done without this bit.
In episode 3, we get this sort of like conversation at the dinner table. Can music comfort people? Is music a comfort? And I thought this was a little bit of a stupid conversation because I'm like, of course music can comfort, right? Like, there's even music therapy now. When I was a kid, there was no music therapy, okay? But did you have thoughts about this romantic notion about music and the way that some of these players, like these instrumentalists, were like, I don't know if music can comfort, whatever. They were a little bit pessimistic about it.
Well, I found it at macro, like I think it mirrored, like I think it was really good for Kim Min-Jae's character, so JYP's like arc, in that, like he's the flip of Sung-ha, right? He is so prodigiously talented, but piano playing for him brings him no joy. He has no joy. It is just a way to make money. It's like a thing that's pressure. It's the thing that means that he has to take sleeping tablets to sleep, and it's not something he gets any kind of joy out of, let alone comfort from anymore, right? And I think there is also like a commentary about, which I think I feel as well, of just what happens when you turn your passion and your hobby into a job, and it becomes like the thing that your livelihood depends on it. Does it just erode that passion for? So I mean, like, mine's this very small thing, but like I love knitting and crocheting. And part of the thing when you're knitting and crochet is people meet you and you go, wow, you've made this, like you should totally sell this, right? But like nobody wants to pay actual money for things that have been like handmade, and the hours that go into it. Like your average adult jumper would take 80 hours. So if I charge myself at minimum pay, like no one's paying me like £800 or like $1,000 for a hand knit jumper, right? That's just not happening. And so like, but people always go, oh, you should do this as a job. And so A, it's economically not viable, but B, it's also like but then I wouldn't be doing it for myself, right? It would no longer be my hobby, my passion, my joy, my comfort. It would be something that, I have to do like whatever my customer wants me to do, even if it's hideous
Right.
and in the wrong color or whatever, thing that might erode my joy. And it becomes something that's not, it becomes a chore, because all jobs are a chore, right? Even the ones you love. So it's kind of, I thought it was a good conversation in that sense, because it was like asking this more general question of like, what happens to you when actually you have picked up this instrument and it must have given you joy at some point, but now, like several years down the line, does it no longer, are you almost becoming to hate it because it's actually become something that you're tied to,
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that Chae Sung-hwa basically comes in and says, look, songs mean different things to different people. And one person might derive joy from something that you hate. And, she kind of defines it that way. And it still takes out of the equation the fact that it's a job for JYP.
Yeah.
And that he's actually suffering for the craft.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she does have a very romantic notion of living and playing music as her career versus JYP, who's in the trenches and really feels the strain of this life, how demanding it is, how he's constantly living out of a suitcase, and not to mention the financial strain that his family puts on him because his father's constantly getting in debt. So
and then all the pressure from his agent on staying on the top of his game and being potentially overtaken by some other brand new star in the pianist world. And just feel for him so much during this drama. Like, I think they do a really good job of kind of showing how he's quietly, like, how hard this is for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then later on, this conversation comes into play, I think, in episode 14, where she starts to, this is when she's thinking of giving up the violin, and they have like the flashbacks of this conversation about music and bringing you comfort, and she's like hugging the violin as well while she's thinking of all this, and she goes to open the violin case and the bridge has fallen. The bridge has collapsed on the violin, and you're like, oh no. That's a little on the nose for me personally.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. It happened multiple times in the later episodes, and I was like, this is a little cheap. Like, this, we were really smart earlier. You didn't need to have the violin bridge collapse to show that. It's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Well, actually, because a lot of, I think, the beauty of this show was all the subtleties. So some of the stuff, like, I didn't even notice until like afterwards. I read like other people what they wrote about the drama and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice that. That was so. And I think, for example, like the way that their relationship, like one of the things I loved about them was how organically they kind of grew together, and the show showed how they came to care for each other, and they did it in loads of tiny little ways, and it was really really subtly done and really beautiful. So the bridge was a bit like, oh, this is a bit K-drama. It's just a bit, we get the symbolism. It's like,
I get it. It's a little like, spoon-fed. In episode 3, he plays, because she's very cut up and it's her birthday. She just had this thing happen with her best friend who's crying over the guy that she has a crush on. It's this whole complex thing. And she's not feeling up for going to the party. And I think he's in the practice room and he plays Moonlight Sonata for her. And then transitions it into Happy Birthday.
Yes.
And I was like, I was holding on to the wall. I was like, this is amazing. This is genius, right? To do this, because she starts protesting. She's like, I don't really feel like listening to music right now. I don't feel like listening to this song. And then he transitions into Happy Birthday. And I was like, oh my God, I am sold. If a boy did this for me, major Kenergy, but also I would buy it.
So that. Yeah. I mean, if... It just reminded me, the one thing I have to say, when we have classical, having said that I'm not really into classical music, one thing when they do classical music, I wish they would pick some other pieces and not pick the literally the most
Moonlight
overplayed,
Sonata.
like Moonlight Sonata, like in Twilight it was flipping Clair de Lune. I was
Claire
like,
the
just
fucking
like,
lune.
Clair the fucking Lune. I'm just like, yeah, let's just like pick a different track. Let's not all play the same thing that's on like the classical 100 like CD, right? Let's just kind of. But yeah, I was like, come on, guys. I'd like to learn some other pieces. I'd like to learn, find something obscure to love, and then we could all get to know it a bit better. So yeah, that's my pet peeve for this.
I agree completely. I agree. I think it was the transition that I was like, oh my God, I hear it. It's happening. But then he gets up from the piano and asks her, would you like to be friends?
Yeah.
And then he says, no, we have to be friends. And then he goes and hugs her and says, I'm doing this as a friend.
Oh, they were so cute.
Because he's just like comforting her. And I like their date when they go on their first date and they're walking by the wall at the palace.
Yes.
That he's said multiple times he likes to take a stroll by the palace. And she's like, really? I guess it's a little cliche maybe. But I appreciate it. I appreciate these moments where you see them just vibing with each other and making small talk and having a little bit deeper conversations. And it's good. I liked all that.
Yeah, what I really loved, and given obviously that they're introverts, was just how quickly they open themselves up and start telling each other things they haven't told their BFFs about themselves. Obviously crushes and whatever, but just like opening up. It was almost like they kind of got like, I'm, as I said, a romance fan. So I do always love it when like two people meet and they kind of realize that this is someone that they can bare their soul to a little bit. Like that always gets me. And I think that they did that so well right from the start, right from the start. She's kind of quite honest about how she feels about this, that, and the other. And because they're so introverted and closed, like this is like the first time we as an audience hear some of this as well, right? So I think that was I thought they did that so well.
Yeah. What did you think about him and second female lead Jung Kyung together and their hang up, which was pretty consuming for a large part of the show?
So I did struggle with this. Like I said, I'm not I'm not a big love triangle fan. I found her character really difficult. So I think it sounds like we had a similar journey in that most of the drama, I was like, I just do not like this person at all.
She's a bitch. Oh my God.
And also, why does she have two, not just one, but two really amazing people fall for her? Like, what? For what? For what exactly?
For what? She's not great. She's not great.
No, and neither of them are with her for the money, which is something I could. Ooh. I'm like, okay, maybe for the money and the influence, because your family is like, this amazing like musical like whatever family, and for the prestige of it. But no, that's not the reason you're with her. You like her because I don't know. I literally don't know why you like her.
Yes, I don't know why they liked her. She was not charismatic. She was very dry. She seemed to have no sense of humor. She was rude.
Yeah.
Rude. She was mean to Chae Song-ah as well.
Yeah.
She seemed to have only one expression throughout the show. And
which was distaste.
It was distaste. Like she was annoyed or judging everyone around her at all points. And I particularly thought that she was cruel in episodes 5 through 6 or so when she breaks up with the cellist, with the Hyun-no. Like, I thought that was terrible because she breaks up with him and he's trying. I think they're in an outdoor, what are those called? Like the tented.
Oh, the Pojungcha.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's trying to convince her that she's imploding their relationship for something that she thinks is better, which in this case is JYP.
Yes.
But, it's not. It'll make her uncomfortable eventually, that she'll regret it eventually. The grass is not always greener on the other side, and that she still does it anyway. She still calls it quits with him, and his crying in that scene was so good.
So good. So good. I mean, as much as I bitch about her, like, it's still like it gave us that scene. It gave us another, not that we really needed it, but another Kim Sung-chul looking wounded and like heartbroken and yearning and just like, oh, my heart went out to him.
I know, our poor boy. But then later, she tells the foundation director, Young-in, I think they call her Nuna throughout the show. She tells her that they broke up. And he's there, like Hyunno is there in the concert hall where they're talking. And she goes apeshit in front of the Nuna character because she asks him, did you intend to marry me? With what confidence did you think you had anything to offer me? Tell me why they liked her. She's a shit person.
Yeah, she is horrible.
She's horrible.
And also, like, they kept flashing back to that scene in the concert, like, theater bit where they, so this is JYP now and the second female lead, and the kind of like confession that wasn't the confession. But I think when we got to like the fifth replay of this like flashback, I was Enough. I'm like a bit over it. Like, actually, could you just show me why he liked her rather than this scene? Could you show me a time when she deserved your adoration? Because then maybe I'd get it a bit more. But
I know. Yeah, we both had the same issues with this character. And then her threatening at various points Chae Song-ah. Like, she shows up in front of her house, in front of Chae Song-ah's neighborhood, and says that her and JYP have 15 years of history. Stay out of our business.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Where did this guy... If I was Chae Song-ah, I'd have no idea what she's talking about. Why she would come and tell me this? Because at this point, they're not even together, really.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was.
So I completely was on Chae Song-ah's side. Did you take sides in their relationship at all? Like, did you find that you were sort of on JYP's side as far as he had a lot of the way that he was behaving was warranted and, you know, forgivable, or were you on Chae Song-ah's side?
I was Chae Song-ah's side.
Yeah.
Because there were times when I'm just like, because let's be fair, like as beautiful as this drama did subtlety, there were also times when it did lean into the tropes, right? And so like partway, like towards the end when it does that whole miscommunication thing of she misunderstands like him kind of being the accompanist to the second female lead. And I'm like, you could just explain, you could just talk, and you could also tell her like your money issues, and you could just tell her like, because she doesn't feel like you're talking to her, right?
Yeah.
And you could just talk.
Yeah.
I mean, it gave us antsy scene, so I'm just like, I get it. I get like that's why they did it. But yeah, no, all the time I did feel like okay. So first of all, like I just feel the drama did such a good job of, as we've said, making her an introvert. But she is so brave. Like she like throughout this drama, right? She is consistently putting herself out there, and you know, because I mean, this is flipping hard for anybody to do, but it must be so much more harder when you're such an introvert. So she tells him that scene when she tells him she likes him.
Oh yeah, perfect example.
And do you want to read the thing, because you wrote like an interview she gave, right, about that scene? Yeah,
she talked about that scene, and it was really touching the way she talked about their chemistry. And she explained that in episode 6, it wasn't that I meant to confess my feelings, but after seeing his face, everything just came out uncontrollably. I had my hand on my chest and I could feel my heart beating. So it seems like she's a little method.
Yeah.
Because she was feeling some type of way during that scene. Yeah. And you could tell that it was authentic and very organic. Yeah. The way that it just sort of spilled out of her. Like, I like you.
Yeah. And I felt it, you know, like I've been that person that's kind of like, I don't think you like me back, and you're like way too like, you know, out of my league, which is I think how she feels, right? This person is so out of my league, but oh, like I've got all these feelings, and then suddenly
know.
you're asking me what's wrong, and I'm just like, I can't pretend that like I'm okay, because obviously I'm not okay, and like, blah, here's my feelings. And so it felt so real. I was just like, but she was so brave as well, you know, to just bare her heart. You know, in that situation where she feels like it's just one-sided, like for her, you know, it's just from her side. So she's not saying it to like elicit like, oh, I like you back. Like I know she knows that this is not, you know, yeah. And then the ice cream kiss. Can we talk about the ice cream scene?
Take it away. I made a TikTok about it because I loved it so much. But absolutely, please, what did you think about the ice cream kiss?
I just love that. Well, first of all, I love that it turns out that he didn't really like ice cream. So it was
so believable. This is so believable.
Yeah,
that he's like, I just, do you want to grab ice cream? He basically just like pulled it out of thin air, even though he doesn't even like ice cream, just to spend time with her. And then later on, they're eating ice cream together.
But he's not eating.
He's not eating it. And she's like, what is wrong? And he's like, I don't really like ice cream.
So was
really cute.
That was already cute as, I mean, God, they're just so cute. That was already cute as, and then they lean in because then his ice cream falls, and then she's like, you know, they're about to kiss, and then she does it, right? She initiates She kisses him. And like, I'm just like, you go, girl. Like, you just, you know, like it must have been also really hard. And it's just so cute because then she kisses him, and then she suddenly like draws back and like you could kind of feel like she goes, oh shit, like I kissed him, like, oh, like what was I doing? And then he just goes in for like round 2, and then I'm just like, oh. And then the ice cream is melting, and then we are all melting, and I was like, oh, this is such a great scene. I love that scene.
Perfect. Yeah, she puts down her own ice cream, so it's like, I gotta dedicate myself to the sweeter thing, and this kiss is sweeter than the ice cream right now.
Yeah,
I adored that scene, and yeah, she's quite brave. I think even just the fact that she went to business school, graduated with a business degree, and then was like, I'm gonna go back to school for violin, and she'd never played the violin before.
Yeah.
Wild. That is bravery. That's maybe brave, something more, because. Yeah. And even her dad was like, do you even, like, are you even talented at playing the violin? The family's, like, befuddled by her decision. And, of course, they don't support her, which is really sad. And I don't know. I don't know if I like this family at all.
But quite, I guess, like, in the social context, I think completely understandable. But yeah, I love that she is such a brave character, but she doesn't look it, right? So it's that juxtaposition of like, they don't have to always be warriors, and they don't have to be like a king in the king's affection and be all like, you know, I'm alpha. Like she is just so strong and so brave. And then even then later when she decides that she's going to break up, you know, and she does it.
Oh my God.
For herself, like she's going to put herself, even though she likes him so much, she's like, I'm doing this for me. This isn't working for me. Yeah. And I found that really organic and also really brave and took courage. And yeah,
I agree completely. I like that she brings up, I think in voiceover, can she beat time, which is 2 things that she's trying to work out in her mind and heart. Can she beat the time that other people have on her? Like, as far as her musical ability, she is way behind everybody else in school. And even his JYP's agent comes and has like multiple terrible conversations with her where he's just putting her down and giving her a reality check that she'd never requested. No. And he's like, there, you can't beat time. Everyone else has been practicing and taking lessons for over a decade, and you're just starting. Like, whether you're good or bad, it doesn't matter. You can't beat them. Yeah. And in the relationship between JYP and Jung Kyung, the second female lead, it's the same thing that she's questioning, like, can I beat this time that they've spent together? Yeah. Like, I don't have this history with him. And how am I gonna get, she's everywhere in his life.
Yeah.
Like, she goes to his house. She requests to go to his house, which is also really brave, right? Early on in the relationship, she's like, can I come up to your house?
Yeah.
And she sees like the handkerchief that she gave him. And he's funded basically by her family. His entire livelihood depends on her, and so on and so forth. The list goes on with how she's been imprinted all over JYP. And she's like, Chae Sung-a's like, how can I compete with this?
Yeah.
And it's a valid question. Yeah. Talking about their relationship, the elitism, which I think you touched on earlier, was probably the most like frustrating part of the show to me. Like, never mind the two love triangles and the second female lead from Hell. I thought the elitism and the way that there's like a clear hierarchy in the school and the music community, and I couldn't fathom how JYP could let his piano competition teacher speak so badly of his girlfriend at this point.
Yeah. And
how her internship buddy as well was saying, like, why would a world-class pianist date an ordinary violin student?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's just ordinary. It was a lot, and I was feeling that along with the character. That was something that was running throughout the show, was just this, the way that the community's so mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so hierarchical, right? But that's why then that also gave like one of the other scenes that I really loved, when he was just, when they were together, people were asking them like, is this rumor real? And he's like, yeah, she's my girlfriend. Like, we're dating. And then they sit next to each other in the canteen, and then they just basically because they just do a lot of this like shy smiling at each other. Like, they can't stop smiling at each other, but then they kind of stop and then they start again because they can't not stop smiling. And I was just like, oh, they're so adorable. They're so cute together. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exploitation of the students by the professors.
Yes.
Disgusting. And they badger them, they insult them, the teachers are condescending to them. Yeah. They pin the professors pin all of their own dash dreams and musical aspirations on the students. And not only do they live vicariously through them, but they're simultaneously gaining esteem and clout and position from attaching their name to their most successful students. And this blew my mind. I don't feel like we have that in our culture over here in the West. So I was like, this is like a whole new thing where you have these students who make it, and then somehow like the teachers also in the same sentence. Why?
Yeah. That's really interesting, because you know how you said like this drama kind of felt like a bit old school to you? So this part of it felt very old school to me, because I think it's quite an Asian Confucian concept, the whole like Confucian thing of a master and their pupil, and how a successful pupil reflects well on their master. So for me, it felt like these were kind of themes that had been, so the fact that these two quite bitchy professors, and they're like at each other, like the two women professors, it felt really old school to me. So actually I ended up kind of enjoying it, because I found that bit like a little bit melodramatic, like old school melodrama. Like they were just, it was just so OTT, and they were just so bitchy, and they just hated each other so much that I was like, oh, okay, this bit's not like, this is just the mellow butt of this drama. Like they're kind of like taking the pee, rather than it being like a true reflection of kind of what might go on in the classical world. So that's right.
So it was a little bit jarring to watch, and to have the students get in the crosshairs of these petty rivalries, and those two music professors who one actually did teach the students, it felt like.
Yes.
Whenever she was having the private lessons with that one girl who had a really overbearing mom, she was teaching her. On the other hand, whenever we saw the other professor with Chae Sung-a on those private lessons, I was like, how is Chae-sung keeping it together? Because she's not even paying attention. She's not giving her any notes. She's not teaching her anything.
And then she had to do the event and then not get invited. Like she did all that work and then I was so angry.
I was livid. I was livid when that professor said that she was like, oh, I only invited the best students, the best players. And so of course you're not a member of the chamber orchestra, which the chamber orchestra itself was like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. It was a Ponzi scheme. Yeah.
Yes! The students, the players themselves were buying all the tickets. And they were there was no, oh my God, it was so frustrating. But I just couldn't get over that bitch of a violin professor who, I mean, even later, she's at some sort of event from the Kyung-soo Foundation that happens at the school. And in front of all of the Kyung-soo Foundation girlies, the bitch violin professor says, you couldn't ask for a better wife for a performer. Nowadays, women all have their own job, keeping them busy. But honestly, for musicians like Joon-young, who go on tour, they need a wife who packs their bags and manages their schedule. That's how they can focus on their music only without having to worry about bothersome things like managing their money. It's a head scratcher.
It's so old school. That's what it is. That's the bit that that's the bit that felt like old school.
Whoa. Yeah. And then I love how you had that Kyung-soo Nuna go, people really just say whatever they please.
Yeah.
Like, people just flap their lips together. And she goes, not everybody is an adult just because they are older.
Yes. I love her character.
Oh, I loved her character. I thought she was such a gem. I really enjoyed her inclusion in the whole show, really.
I love the actress, actually. So,
yeah, I love her too. Yeah, that is, I have her. So Jung-yeon.
Yes. So she is also in Interest of Love, but she is playing the mum of Yoo Yoon-suk. And I think there's like a decade between them. I was just like, come on now. She's just like mum roles now. It's like she's not that old, guys. Come on. So yeah, that was a bit. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think that the whole JYP can't play piano the way he wants to and never has played piano the way he wants to is also a really important part of the show and really poignant because whenever he has these lessons with this terrible, terrible competition teacher, who like is mentally traumatizing all of his students evidently, especially JYP.
Yeah.
He's constantly telling him to pander to the judges and to basically dumb it down and play it in the most respectable, the most like appeal to the common denominator, basically, versus playing it with the feeling and emotion and maybe slight difference from the pandering, like the majority, and getting a perfect score from like one person and making one person feel something. And I was like, that's powerful. Like we could sit there and talk about that for a long time, but I like that. And he ends up saying, like, can I not even play the piano the way I want to? And the teacher's like, no, you can't.
Yeah. It's really interesting because actually I think it's a parallel as well. So have you heard of Lang Lang?
No, I don't.
Lang Lang is a very famous pianist from China. So he's probably the most famous pianist that China has ever produced. And he started when he was 3, obviously. And
you see?
And he's done interviews about how like he was basically like pressured into doing lots of anyway, I digress. So one of the themes of, and there's a racist element to it as well, but one of the themes of the Chinese classical music scene or even the East Asian musical scene is this kind of like, and again, slightly racist kind of viewpoint that East Asian people are very technically good, but not necessarily have this kind of appreciation or this artistry or this authenticity of voice that maybe Western musicians have, because they, you know, there's this kind of like, because, you know, like Chinese, there's a Chinese, like a racist Chinese trope is that we're all robotic automatons, and that we're really good at kind of following instructions and doing it like everybody can do the same move at the same time in a really orchestrated way, but we can't think for ourselves because we're kind of robotic like that. And so pianists are like technical, so people who do then, you know, East Asians that then do the classical music and learn an instrument are like technically very proficient, but yeah, don't necessarily have this artistry thing. So I also thought that that was like his teacher was kind of representing like that world of like, be somebody who is technically good and pleases everybody, and don't be too individual and express your personality and your, you know, your emotions through your piece, and be too idiosyncratic, like, because you should just fit in, because like the Asian thing is to fit in and not stand out.
I am shocked. Well, not shocked. How do I put this? I have never heard that about musicians and artists from Southeast Asia ever. And so that was shocking in and of itself. But I am so glad that you're here to have these great nuanced takes and call out some of these maybe stereotypes if you're looking at it nicely. But I literally, you blew my mind right now about that take and that viewpoint about the racist stereotype. And like, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I never thought. And maybe it's just, you know, I come from a different culture, and like individuality is everything. And that's why you gravitate towards certain performers, because they make you feel a certain way, or they talk about something that in their lyrics that like speaks to you. And classical music is really difficult to make a name for yourself, to me, because the music has been on the page for sometimes centuries. Yeah. And countless people have played it. And what are you going to bring to the table that's new and fresh and different?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. Wow. I felt like that's why I actually appreciate another element of why I appreciated the drama, that it was set in this setting that was kind of had a wider social commentary, I think, like on, like I said, that it's very much kind of something that lots and lots of people do in Asia just for the extracurricular credits, and not necessarily in and of itself. Yeah.
Right. Not for the romance of it.
Yeah. Or the love of it, or the creativity, the artistry of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the last thing that I wanted to talk about JYP was that he was so wrecked, like, with his soulless life that he's lived as a pianist and as a student, and that he's the golden ticket for his family, the checking account that they dip into when his dad squanders more money. Yeah. And he feels indebted and owned by the rich family, by Jung Kyung's family, who gave him everything. They gave him his shot, gave him the foundation money, and they continually pay his family's debts under the table. And it's like he can't live without them. Yeah. Like he can't amount to anything without their wallet. And it's maddening for him to keep this toxic lifestyle. Yes. That and it goes into like what we were saying earlier about how he's never been able to enjoy his piano playing. Well, this is a huge part of it too, that he's been beaten into submission and he's been bought and paid for, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So the romance fan in me also loves that his setup, because he's so lonely, right? I love a lonely hero. A lonely, damaged hero. And I love that. I love how they set it up in the drama. Like, it's not in your face that this is the thing that he's going through. You just kind of like peel back the layers and realize that he, you know, with the whole like, I'm this top tier concert pianist comes all of this pressure, and he's lonely at the top kind of thing. And I thought that the drama did a really good, and then like Kim Min-Jae himself did a really good. It was a really physical performance, actually, because they're so introverted and they don't say a lot. So I felt like they were really showing their acting chops through really subtle, like the way he held his body, the eye contact and stuff, and like, yeah, just really great.
I agree. When they break up, which I was fully supportive of Chae Sung-ha breaking up with him, actually, as a matter of fact. I was like, yeah, this should happen earlier. It's, of course, raining outside. And that's what I mean by, in the later episodes, it gets a little cheap with, like, the K-drama tropes and the cliches, where earlier they had this whole scene where she gave him an umbrella. It was raining. He didn't have one. She gave him one. Then they break up. Of fucking course, it's raining outside when she walks out and he gives her back the umbrella.
Yeah.
So I was like, I hated it because they didn't need it, right?
I didn't need to do that. Well, actually, because, in juxtaposition, the other really, really, really great scene that I really loved was his initial confession to her. So let me set this up. So he had said, I need to have a conversation with you. And I need to tell you something. So she then all starts thinking,
oh my God,
like, what could he be telling me? Like, could he be confessing his love back to me or whatever? And then she's all like really tense and nervous. And then suddenly he goes, so I'm playing the piano for Jung Kyung. And she's just like, what the, like, WTF, like, why are you telling me this? Why is this relevant to me? Like, you've just kind of told me that you were telling me something, so I thought you were here to tell me something big, like, just basically,
and one more thing that Jung Kyung has, like, won over her is that now suddenly he's her accompanist, and she's struggling, like, Chae Sung-ha has been struggling to get a good accompanist for her grad school audition, and it's like right where it hurts, right?
Yeah, right where it hurts. And then he said that this is the really important thing he wants to tell her. And also we as in the audience know that he wants to do it, like, because he doesn't want her to misunderstand and stuff. But my heart's with her. I'm just like, seriously, man? Like, seriously? This is the way you're going to deliver it to her? Yeah. And then he drops the bombshell of, like, actually, I like you. And then they have their kiss with the piano and the discordant notes. And I was like, I love this scene. I love this scene.
Yeah. That's a really good A+ scene. And then they come up with that thing between them that's like, tell me the important thing first.
Yeah. I really like that too.
I know.
I really like that too. Yeah.
So this was okay for me. In the episode 15, they both get sick, and this is done in like a montage-y sequence, so it's not dwelled upon that much, but she gets sick because she's decided to give up the violin, because that's her great love, right? She loves playing the violin. And then he gets sick at the same time because they broke up, because she was his greatest love, not the piano. Like, who gives a fuck about the piano? So I was like, okay, this is okay. I'll allow this trope of like, oh, they get sick because they're heart sick, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you foresee that Jung Kyung's grandmother would die?
I was quite shocked, actually. I think when it happened. But then I realized, I guess they were telling us that she was ill.
She was ill?
She was ill.
Okay, so here's, I agree with you, and I'm the fact that they were saying, oh, she had a hospital stay, she was ill, and people were kind of like treating her very gingerly whenever she was out and about, that's fine. But she seemed in good health the rest of the show, and so I thought we were free and clear of some elderly person just up and dying on us in the middle of the show. Sure. Not the case at all. No. You get a really cheap shot, right? Where Jung Kyung just sent the email, or is about to send the email, that she's going to turn down the professorial position. Yeah. And her violin string snaps. To signify, smash cut, the grandma died. We're already, like, she's already dead and we're at the funeral. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so... it couldn't have been more old school K-drama in that moment.
Yeah, I so agree. Yeah.
And it's like, again, we were just talking about all this nuance and meaning throughout the show, and their journeys are so interesting. And then you have like the violin snap to symbolize that the grandmother died. I'm like, shut up. Like, just shut up. Tone it down, because we were good up until now.
I felt a bit like it was almost like the showrunner like came in maybe at that point and said, you know, like I think you need to put these things into your drama, like it's a little bit too subtle.
It's too smart. You have to dumb it down for the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
So annoying. But they finally get together and play Brahms for her graduation recital.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed their performance. I thought the latter performances between them and the trio and his graduation recital as well, I was like, these are really good, memorable bits of the show of them performing, and they sounded really good.
They did. And I think this is where like Park Eun-Bin's kind of like violin playing and slight background in it really paid off, because when she's doing the super dramatic like bowing thing, I'm just like, you look so right.
It looks
like
good.
I do not play the violin, so I have no idea, but you look like the real deal. And it was so great. It was really good.
Yeah. I like the quote that she says to him after their performance at her graduation recital. You know, the piece we played today, the FAE Sonata, means free but lonely, but I hope that you can be free and happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so lovely.
Oh, it's so lovely. I don't understand. This is a nitpick. Why did his graduation recital have like a bunch of songs, and then hers just had one song?
That's so true.
Like, he came in and had a whole program,
and
she just needed him for the one song.
Yeah. Maybe that's just because, he's the star and she's like,
true.
The little person.
True. But I like the conversation that she has with him after his graduation recital, where he says, they've already broken up.
Yeah.
She's about to leave. And he says, like, I love you. Like, I'm being selfish right now. I know that, like, we've broken up and I hurt you, but I love you. And I think I'd just regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't tell you right now. And I was like hand over heart. I like couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my God. Then she says that she can't be friends with him.
Yeah.
Because she loves him. And then they have this most scrumptious kiss backstage. I was like, oh Lord, like, this is great. This is so great.
It was good. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. The last couple of notes that I have to do with his mom, because throughout the show, I was thinking she should just divorce this asshole.
There's no hope that. I know.
Then JYP has this convo with his mom and says, Mom, get a divorce. I literally gasped. So, like, the gasp that I gusped when he just starts in, Mom, get a divorce. I was like, oh, that's what I have been saying the whole show.
So direct. Love it.
Yeah. It caught me off guard. And then couple rings, happy ever after. And that's it. Like, I think maybe the show, the only other nitpick I have is maybe the show should be 12 episodes long versus 16. I think that would be a really sweet spot.
So you didn't have to do the 1.25 speed.
So that I didn't have to do the 1.25 speed, and we wouldn't have two love triangles, and we wouldn't have a little bit of wheel spinning with Jung Kyung and her bullshit. And yeah, it just would have been a little bit of a tighter show. And I again, really good show overall. Really enjoyed it.
I liked it at 16. I would have taken 14, but I think 12 was maybe a bit too. I mean, the one thing I would say, that my final point would have been that I'm just very glad that the second leads didn't end up together.
Oh my God, that's a great point.
I'm so glad they didn't, because I was like, because I really didn't like her. So at episode 14 bit, I think I was like, please don't get back together with her. Don't redeem her so much that she is now like okay to have her, because I thought that's what they were going to do with the direct, like her grandmother dying. They were going to like make it all like get it all like smushy, and like she was going to like realized that she'd been a bitch all this time, and I was like, please don't make that happen, because I'm just not buying it. And then he goes off to the States, and I'm like, yes
you
go.
leave
It's good. Find someone who deserves you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, the last thing, I guess Jung Kyung is semi-redeemed when she realizes that she never loved JYP. She just was comforted by him and his presence and his piano playing and was extremely jealous of his success and felt inferior because her own talent had diminished.
Yeah, but
again,
I didn't buy that either, though, because that doesn't
like her self-realization.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Well, no, her self-realization of that's why she liked him. Like, I just was a bit like, but then you were basically acting like the jealous kind of bitch, right? So I don't like. I get like that could be a justification for how you feel about someone, but that is not how you behave for the majority of this drama.
She just behaved so badly.
She did.
She just behaved so badly. I guess what I liked is that she was actually a good teacher.
Yes. Yeah. So I like that little, like, you know, the girl was, she saw herself in the girl, right? And her tiger mom and
and having, I think also having her coming to terms with what the foundation means to each member of her family and how the grandmother, like, she called her grandma out for thinking that this foundation was this like charitable thing that she was doing out of the goodness of her heart, when really she started this foundation because she felt extremely guilty toward her daughter who died, Jung Kyung's mom, and not having a good relationship with her and being very harsh toward her in life. And I was like, that's heavy.
Yeah, that's why I felt like towards the end, like I could buy her. Like, I don't think she had a full redemption arc, but I felt like I could buy a little bit of like hope for her that she could be less of a bitch in the future. Yeah,
and she was already in her 30s. Like, I feel like by the time you're in your 30s, you're fully cooked. Like, there's not you don't grow that much, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so we were on the same wavelength for a lot of this. This is great. Yeah. And you had such great takes and so much insight and cultural relevancy and things that spoke to you that I just didn't even pick up on. I'm so glad that you came on this episode with me and enjoyed the show. Sometimes people come on and we have a good time, but the show sucked and like we were just commiserating the whole time because we didn't like the show. But in this case, we did like the show, and I do want to just thank you for being so patient. It takes a really long time sometimes to produce podcast episodes, as you know, with Afternoona Asks. But I really appreciate it. You've been really, really wonderful, and I hope you come back.
Oh, I'd love to come back. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. Thank you.
Oh, great. Where can people find you online, Sarah?
So I post probably a little bit too obsessively on Instagram at K-Drama this. And then, as you said, we've just started a brand new baby pod, Afternoona Asks, which is a sister podcast of Afternoon Delight. And I know you've had Leah from Afternoon Delight on your show. So it's myself and then Grace, my co-host, is a Korean American. So we're kind of like Asian-owned voices on this whole K-drama journey together. And it's called Asks because we have a lot of questions, right? So, you know, like we watch K-dramas and we're like, does this thing really happen? So we're kind of how to ask the questions that we all have, and bring on a lot of guests and grill them because neither of us know everything. We learn how to say Korean names properly with Grace, and we learn some phrases and other things. So yeah, so come and join us on Afternoona Asks.
I am so glad that you guys are doing those episodes and have started a really nice like spin-off of Afternoona. I loved having Leah on. And here's some more episodes with you guys, both the Afternoona team coming on Daebak. I really appreciate it. And that's it. I'm Jessica, and this has been the Daebak K-Rambles podcast.